Welcome to episode number 173 of Broad Street Hustle. I'm your host tonight, Jason Sayeda, and we will go into normal topics like we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. We're going to start with a Phillies update. We're going to review the Eagles win over the Chiefs. We're going to preview the Eagles Rams. We're going to give our picks. We were pretty good last week, so hopefully we can keep going. And I guess there's a theme as to why we've started out so well, but you could probably take a guess as to why, that the pod overall is doing well, but we'll get into that later. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Giovanni's Pizza. You tried the rest, now try the best. Tommy can't join us tonight, but we are joined by, I guess your new nickname is the Bellwether, right? Jimmy
Yeah, the bellwether, yeah.
Bellwether. When it's just me and you, we're the Bellwethers.
But we'll go with that.
All right, let's get into it. So the Phillies are on a roll. They're now 91-62. They clinched National League East. That's over. Well, with 3 or 4 series left, I guess it was over. Well, maybe 3.5, but it's over. So like I said, they're 91-62. Their magic number to clinch the second seed is now 4. So with 3 series left, that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. If you're the Phillies, you probably have to win 1 game per series, and I think you have it clinched because see the Dodgers running the table. You probably are in a little bit of trouble now to get the number 1 seed because the Brewers, I believe, have a 2.5 game lead. Chalky, is that correct?
I believe that's correct after the last night.
Yeah, so 2.5 game lead. Now, it's still not out of the question. Brewers have a slightly tougher schedule remaining than the Phillies. But, I mean, if you ask me, I think the Phillies are going to wind up with the number 2 seed, which is fine. I mean, you're going to get a bye. Preferably it would be 1, but we'll take it for now. So a couple of notes I have written down. 4th starter is still a question mark. I have the theory on what I think they're going to do. We'll get into that at some point. The bullpen, it looks like now it's ever changing, but it looks like Strahm and Robertson are they're your setup guys. Kerkering should be nowhere near any game that's anywhere, in doubt because he's been awful. And then Duran obviously is going to close. And, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, we could touch on other things, but those are the thoughts that were in my mind. Chalky, what do you got for us?
Where to start? Let's see. Well, if we go with the pitching, I think what you're going to see tomorrow night is indicative of what you could see in the playoffs. So that's Walker starting with Taijuan Walker starting with Walker Buehler piggybacking on the back. Taijuan Walker is not going to be starting in the playoffs, I don't think, but I think that could be a precursor to what you see for either Anola or maybe Luzardo starter or somebody, or just have Buehler as a guy available to do whatever. Like,
you had it right the first time. My thought is it's going to be Nola once through the lineup,
mm-hmm.
and then you're going to have Walker Buehler come in.
Because I think that's the most likely. The one thing I'll say is that, Nola had a great game and then had another really good 5 innings until it blew up in the 6th. His blow up inning hasn't been consistent. So like twice it was the 1st inning, once it was the 3rd inning. This case it was the 5th inning. So like if you knew he was blown up in the 4th, 5th, 6th, I would feel much more confident that was definitely the way to go. I mean, you could roll the dice, and if you struggle in the 1st, you pull him at that point. I mean, I don't know. So, like, if you get through 3 or 4, then maybe that's the point where you say, okay, we're not going to play with fire and see what comes next. I mean, you go back through the Dodgers series, pretty much every pitcher had like 1 bad crooked inning. Suarez had a 3-run inning. I think Sanchez had a 3 or 4-run inning, right? And then Luzardo had the same last night. But I mean, that I would normally say that's a killer, but the 3 of those 4 games that I just mentioned, not including Nola, but were games they came back to win. So the team is resilient, and they're gonna keep coming at you. Um, it's just tough that when you let that inning get out of control. I mean, you know, while we were recording last week, we said, "Oh, it's a bad Luzardo game." Well, by the end of the night, he retired 22 straight batters, which is
Yeah, that's
crazy,
the
crazy.
usual jinx of us,
Yeah.
sitting with somebody, and then I
Um,
think as soon as we said it, he didn't give up another hit.
no, not another hit. Not another base runner.
Yeah.
So, um, you're given those. If you would have said that your pitcher's going to give up a 3-run inning every game plus whatever else, I would have been concerned. But I mean, you're getting contributions from everybody in the lineup pretty much. I mean, we're even talking about guys like Kemp and Marchand the other night hitting a home run. Um, it's not everybody every night, but Harper had a good series against the Dodgers. Schwarber gave you a home run. He had some bad strikeouts. They really struggled early against Snell last night. I mean, Snell had 12 strikeouts overall, but he had 2 strikeouts in the first inning through a total of 8 pitches. I mean, 6 consecutive strikes to take out Schwarber and Harper. So that you don't want to be seeing. The other thing I'll say for that gave me a little bit of concern, maybe coming out of the Dodgers. Look, the Dodgers, their lineup, their guys aren't hitting to the back of their baseball cards, as you would say this year necessarily, but I mean, it's still talented. Like Betts hurt them a little bit. You got guys there that can get hot or still have some talent. What coming out of the Dodgers series, the fact that the bullpen blew leads in 2 of those 3 games. Kerkering in game 1, and then they got it back. Duran blew the save. Now, hopefully that's a one-time off thing, and he's not going to shake JT off and throw a hanging pitch like he did to Pages or whatever his name is to tie the game. And then was it Robertson gave up the lead in game 2, where then Marchand hit the home run.
Yeah.
So they fought back, get the lead in those games, and then the bullpen doesn't hold it. And luckily the bats came through in the 9th and 10th inning.
I mean, the
But
bullpen. Let's stop there a second and talk a little bullpen. I think it's a concern. To me, Kerkering is just somebody you cannot trust now. He's not a guy that you could trust. He's just, I don't know what happened to him in the last month. I think he's afraid to throw his fastball again, and he's hanging that sweep, whatever it's called, sweeper, or whatever it is. It hangs. And we know Strom is, he's been good lately, but we know what happened to him in the playoffs last year. And then Robertson, I like Robertson, but, Robertson is 40 years old, and we don't know how much he has left. So, it's a concern going into the late innings. Maybe not as much as a concern as it's been, because Duran's shown that he's human.
I'm not worried about him.
No, I'm not either. Especially when you look at the last couple of years. I mean, he's head and shoulders better than what they've had.
I mean, he looked perfectly fine. He came in Tuesday night after blowing the game Monday night and looked perfectly fine. And I think he knows he made that one pitch mistake, and it ended up it cost him. But if he learns from it, then that's fine.
Yeah. Banks, I still like, but he's not perfect either. But again, I mean, it's going to be a little hairy going into late innings in the playoffs. I don't know. But what I'll say is, look at the Dodgers. Would you be,
I mean,
if you're a Dodgers fan, it's awful.
Their bullpen they gave up leads and ended up losing 2 of the games. Ohtani no-hit them for 5 innings, and then they put up 6 the next inning and ended up with 9 for the game. So, I mean.
Yeah. So their bullpen's not good. The Brewers' bullpen is questionable. I mean, it's okay. But, I mean, did they really have a lockdown 8th and 9th inning, guys?
Didn't they lose McGill, or is he back?
Did he get hurt?
I thought I saw that he was hurt. I'll have to look. I thought,
Did that recently happen? Like, when did that happen?
Might have been in the last week or 2 if it did happen, but I'm gonna look it up now.
No, you could be right.
Here it goes. Here's a headline: Brewers. Quintana went on the IL, and McGill's return slowed.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay.
so
The bullpen is
yeah,
questionable. So, everybody that's got knocks against the Phillies, and again, they're not perfect. They're not a 120 win team, and, they have their flaws. You tell me another team that doesn't have flaws.
not
I just think the Phillies have less flaws than all these other teams.
yeah. I mean, which who was the last perfect team to win the world? I mean, you go back to one of those Yankees teams. You want to talk about a team with no flaws from the late '90s, early 2000s. I mean,
Yeah, 25 years ago.
yeah. So these teams are flawed, and it's a matter of you know just getting hot, or at least minimizing your mistakes and playing to your strengths and getting through. The Dodgers. I mean, we talk about the Dodgers pitching wasn't out of this world in the World Series last year. Or in the way they're cobbling together their staff and their bullpen. But
I mean, even this year, is Otani their number one starter going into the playoffs? Like, who's their number one starter?
I mean, he's pitched 5 innings twice right now after the other night. Snell has pitched well, but he's been on and off the IL. So can you definitely rely on that? Um, I don't know that Kershaw's even going to start in the playoffs. So who's your guy? Who's your guy there?
Now,
Glass now, glass arm. I mean, though, look, they've got a staff of guys that are talented without a doubt that have thrown well. It's a matter of them all staying healthy, number one, and holding up in the playoffs, which a lot of them have not done in the past. So
right, right. All right. So let's just assume the way it's going to end the way we see it ending, right? Or the way I mentioned it. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I think the Brewers, just for purposes of this conversation, said the Brewers are going to get the number one seed. Phillies get two, Dodgers three. And then the playoff teams are going to be Cubs, or the wild card. They're Cubs, Padres, and Mets, right? Dodgers are going to get the Mets, and the Phillies are going to get the winner of that series, and then the Brewers are going to get the winner of the Cubs and Padres. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
as far as how I think they're
Yeah,
going to
what do
play
you
out,
see
or
that you see it playing out the way I said it, or do you,
I mean, I think I don't think you're going to. What's the Dodgers lead? Is Dodgers up 3.5 or 4 now on San Diego after or
no,
two
but
two and a half, two and a
two.
half. It's 2.5. Well, San Diego lost to the Mets this afternoon, so it's two and a
Oh, I
half.
missed that. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So Dodgers have 4 against San Francisco, who still have an
For a
outside
while.
shot.
Yeah.
So they'll be playing them tough. I mean, it's not inconceivable that the Padres win the division, but I'm not going to say they're going to,
Well,
maybe
that's a
clean
good
things.
point. Let's stop there because that's a good point. I mean, it might be beneficial for the Phillies to get second because maybe the Padres do win the division, and now the
Oh,
Padres against the Mets, and it's Dodgers against the Cubs.
I mean, which team do I not want to play in a 5-game series? I said, I think last week is the Dodgers. I won 7 against the Dodgers. I'll play every other team in the NL in a 5-game series and feel pretty darn good. And I would feel good at this point against the Dodgers too. But I mean, those are tough games. Like, I'm not a night owl, but I managed to stay up for the first 2 games, and if that's a playoff scenario, like a playoff series, like I might not make it to the championship series if the Phillies get through, but like it'll be a good series. But no, I don't want to see the Dodgers in 5 games. I'll take the Phillies against any of those other teams. I'd rather see them come up.
Right. So you got to figure Dodgers are going to beat the Mets, and then Cubs Padres. I mean, that's a coin toss. I mean, I don't know what happens there, but either of those teams could probably beat the Brewers. So I mean, that's kind of the way it's looking right now. It's probably going to be Phillies Dodgers in round two.
That would be the most likely scenario. I would have to say. Now, the only other thing, the Mets have a pretty well. They have the Cubs. I mean, the Phillies sort of control that because the Phillies have 3 against Arizona, who's 2 games back of the Mets right now. So if they take 2 out of 3 from Arizona, they're basically ending Arizona's
Who
playoff
does the
chance.
Mets have left?
They have Washington, Miami, and the Cubs. So
I mean, come on, they should. the Cubs have nowhere to go there.
No, I mean, but they lost. Miami made them look bad a bunch of times this year. I think it's the Met. I think yes, I think the Mets are going to hold on, but it depends on the Phillies are going to play the series out. Like they're not going to half-ass it, but
No.
they kind of hold the cards as to how that second round matchup is going to look at this point because they obviously they kind of eliminate the Dodgers almost for the second seed, and now if they take 2 out of 3 from Arizona, they're pretty much locking the Mets into that, unless San Francisco goes and sweeps the Dodgers or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and listen, the Phillies are still playing to get the first seed. I mean, it's not like
yeah,
they're not playing for anything. I mean, you know, you get the first seed, and I don't know how the home field advantage works for the World Series, but if it's based on record, you get the first seed, then guaranteed that somebody's going to have to come in here and win a game.
it's overall record.
Okay, so either the Phillies or Brewers are going to have the best record in baseball. So you're just guaranteed you get the number one seed here. You're guaranteed that somebody's going to have to come here and
Yeah,
win. Now,
go through the playoffs.
but not easy to win here.
I mean, yeah, it happened. Happened the last 2 years.
Oh, it did.
But
Arizona could get into no
no,
ball in that game.
no.
Arizona came and won 2 here. So.
I'd rather have 3 root canals, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's not but that's what you want. They have by far the best home record in baseball, right? I think this year. So,
Right.
I mean, that's the advantage. So,
Right.
or not by far the best. That Milwaukee and actually Toronto have almost as many wins, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
it's an advantage.
What it's like here in the playoffs in October.
Yeah.
It's a madhouse, and a lot of these teams can't deal with that. So, all right, again, they've been the favorite in DraftKings. Now they're the favorite in FanDuel also to win the World Series. So it's kind of universal that they are the favorite to win the World Series.
And DraftKings reacted to I guess the series earlier this weekend and spread the odds more between the Phillies and Dodgers now. So
Yep, yep, yep. So exactly. So they became even bigger favorites. So not much more you could ask for.
I do feel good at the moment.
Yeah.
As good as I would feel. I feel as good as any other team in the league right now, probably. So
Again, everybody's flawed. Are the Phillies a perfect team? No. They have flaws, of course. They have many of them, but I think they have less than everybody else.
yep.
Let's move on to the Eagles. So, Eagles pulled out another one. So they beat the Chiefs, and again, I did not write the score down. Chalky, you might remember it, but I don't know why I keep forgetting to write the score down. But they won by a field goal, right?
2017.
Right, 2017. So, was a defensive battle for sure. Tommy's not on the pod tonight, but give him credit. He mentioned the Chiefs' weapons were an issue, and they certainly were. I think the game came down to 2 plays. Obviously, Kelsey not only dropping a touchdown, but popping it up in the air, and Makuba making the interception. And then Devontae Smith on the other side, I believe that was 4th down, right? When he made that jump ball catch? Was it 3rd or 4th?
It might have been third. I don't think they went for it.
We're gonna have to change possession after that. They're gonna have to punt.
Yeah, they would. Yeah, yeah.
They would've had a punt. So, and he just made a hell of a play on that jump ball. So, the 2 plays right there, I think won the game for the Eagles. Let's start there, and then we could get into I like to call it the quarterback sneak because I don't like I'm not gonna say kinda
Yeah.
names that the kinda fruity names that everybody likes to give. Like, we can get into all that stuff
Yeah,
after.
I prefer brotherly shove, but
That's still a little fruity to me, but
yeah.
that's
Well,
alright.
but yeah. So I mean, those 2 plays they came in sequence. The interception, that driving for a touchdown, and obviously swung it back because they Chiefs were looking to potentially at least tie the game, where they were, and
Yeah.
and then the third was 3rd and 10 at the 31, so they would have had a field goal shot, Eagles, but that play down to Smith, gets them down to the goal line, and all the nonsense with the sneaks and the blown calls and whatever. Yeah, I mean, Mahomes looked a lot like we've seen Jalen Hurts. I mean, Mahomes' legs single-handedly kept the KC offense in the game because the Eagles' defense looked night and day in this game than they did for, at least comparing to the first three quarters or whatever of the Dallas game. And not coincidentally, they had Jalen Carter for this game. So, I mean, and I guess he's got some issues of not being in the best shape. I mean, it's not like he sat out all of camp, whatever, but you just saw how he can dominate a game or allow the other players around him to make plays because he has to be accounted for every single time he's on the field. And they got home on the pass rush. They were in Mahomes' face. Mahomes was making throws where you're like, what is he, like, who was he trying to go to? Like, just, he was off. It was very reminiscent, not as many turnovers in some ways of the Super Bowl. Just the way they had him on his heels.
Missing throws.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, they hit a couple that, I mean, at the end of the game, the defense blew two coverages. He missed the first one. He wasn't expecting or whatever. He overthrew him. And then the second time they blew, which, I mean, I don't know.
Like you said, he should have had. I mean, obviously the game changes after the first touchdown, but he missed that. I mean, that's a walking touchdown.
I don't. I mean, I don't know how he misses that throw the first time and the second time. It had to be a blown communication, I think, with somebody in the backfield that he just gets wide open again. And Mitchell almost caught up to him and actually got like a hand on the ball at the last second, but the receiver held on, so give him credit for that. But I mean, it was a slog of a game at times. The Eagles made the most of the Chiefs' mistakes, and the Eagles didn't make any real mistakes. They didn't turn the ball over. They didn't miss field goals. And when they were able to get opportunity, look, 2 touchdown drives, it was a 52-yard drive that came after the missed field goal and a 59-yard drive. So, after an interception. So KC looks like they're going to score, doesn't get it done, and then Eagles come down and get the touchdowns. The sneaks did not, Adam Schefter is now the NFL mouthpiece on ESPN. We're saying, well, the Chiefs lost when they didn't ban the sneak in the preseason. The Chiefs lost because they made those plays we talked about. They didn't convert. And I mean, right now, even though they certainly on Sunday with their depleted offense, the Eagles are just a better team than the Chiefs. That doesn't mean the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl again. Doesn't mean that we're on the greatest teams of all time. They're a better team overall than the Chiefs right now. And the better team won that game.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was getting into the quarterback sneak talk, I wasn't insinuating at all that I think that's why they lost the game.
No. I just brought that up because that was a very
it
was a very placed comment by somebody. Adam Schefter doesn't just make that up on his own.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Other people are saying that stuff. I don't agree. But what I will say is I know we spoke about this before when they were voting on it and what our thoughts are on the play. And I never had a problem with the play, but what is a problem now is it's hard to officiate the play because you have, and it's both sides of the ball, because a lot of times if you look at where the ball's spotted, you have the defensive player encroaching, his hand is past the ball, that's a penalty. But then you have, blatant false starts by the Eagles, both guards, which is also a penalty. Right. So now if that play is not able to be officiated correctly, which it looks like it's turning into that, the play is going to be banned. It's just Ben.
I mean, to me, it's minus 500 that it gets banned this off season as it stands right now. And I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist per se, but it seems after last year was the last off season was the biggest talk about it, and then all of a sudden, in one of the early marquee season games, there's all these problems with the officiating on the sneak that we've seen at times. But I mean, I think if they get to the point, I mean, the Washington championship game last year was probably the precursor where the guy just jumped over the line every time, and so it's like
Like 3
they're gonna
yeah,
force him to change because it's going to get so ridiculous. It's like, okay, you can't run this play now.
yeah.
And to other people said, look, you can run it, just learn how to do it. They can, but I think that would get the league even more uh, ammo to try to sneakily get it banned because that's just an ugly play to watch. If you got 32 teams run that play, the football
No, but
becomes a very ugly game.
yeah,
So
it's not a plea.
and not to mention, so I mean, you talk about the false start, which was the one they scored on that a lot of people were well. I mean, unless you're going to tell me you just couldn't say for sure because they called Hurts down before that. Hurts was in the end zone. The ball was over the line. They called it wrong on the field and they upheld it on the replay. Shouldn't even have been that fourth
More
down
the
play.
thing where is Hurts down and then
I
he showed me.
He wasn't. I mean, he wasn't down. It's a matter now. What you don't know is are they calling for progress? Are they
For
stopping the play?
progress.
Which the NFL intentionally makes things hard, and they have to be because it's the virtual measurement, but they're not placing the ball virtually. They're just saying, oh well, the referee put the ball here, and we're not bringing the chains out.
Why don't they put a chip in the ball and when the whistle blows, wherever the ball is,
I have yet
that's where the
to
ball is.
I have yet to hear an explanation as to why they wouldn't do that. I don't know that it's a technology thing or a cost thing where it's too expensive, or I have no idea why you couldn't use that as a. I mean, look, they can do with the whatever you call it in the tennis matches.
Eagle eye or whatever it's called, right? Eagle
I
something.
mean, something. I mean, you can
Fine.
say I got a clear. You could get a clear eye of the line and where the ball comes down, whereas in a scrum you don't have any idea. But I mean, there has to be a way that they could officiate that better, and I just don't know. I mean, there should be no reason why, like when a punter kicks it 60 yards, and then you got to watch the ref put his hand up and run down the line. You don't know where he's going to stop. How does he know exactly where the ball went out? You can't say. I mean, if it goes out in the air, he's got no idea. He's guessing. He's putting trying to do his best, but you can't tell. So I mean, yeah, I don't know if it's again. It almost seems intentional because I can't see it's that cost prohibitive to do it. But to me, it shouldn't be that. It doesn't need to be that difficult. But they don't seem to be inclined to move past it just yet.
I think what they're gonna wind up doing with this quarterback sneak play is you need to have an official on one side, an official on the other side, and looking down right down at the ball, right forward. And then you're gonna have a lot of penalties. So the Eagles are gonna start having penalties now on that. And that's you get a 5-yard penalty, it's fourth down.
Yeah.
You're kicking a field goal. So they're gonna start calling penalties on that. And they should. I mean, listen, that you can't.
I have no problem if they're fair. Like if the Eagles false start, call it. If the lineman has his helmet over the ball, call the neutral zone infraction. Call it both ways. Call it both ways. That's it. I can't.
Call.
Yeah.
So you see defensively, like that's got to get called.
The guy. I mean, they showed you the one play, like the Eagles false starter, but as they're false starting, the Chiefs guy is crossing the neutral zone and is punching the ball out of Jurgens' hand before he even snaps it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so call the false start, call whatever that is. It's
The problem with that is though, even if you call a penalty on the defense, what does that do? Move the ball an inch? Like it's the ball's.
No, but I'm saying call both. Like
Yeah.
if the Eagles did it, I mean, yeah, I mean, well, that's where you have the Washington thing. Like they were at the 2-inch line, and it's like, what are they going to do? Put it, and then they realize, oh, we can give them a touchdown.
That's why
or whatever.
doing it because they're like, all
Yeah.
right, call me for a penalty. I don't care. Like,
Well, yeah. Now, like when it was the 3rd and the 4th down play, like yeah, they could just say, well, we're awarding a touchdown. Anywhere else on the field, you're not going to do that intentionally because you're going to give them the first down automatically. So, but when it gets to the goal line, yeah, I mean, the defense doesn't have anything to lose by trying to time it perfectly.
yeah. All right, that's enough for that. Let's move on to the Eagles Rams this week. So, I'll get into a little of my thoughts first, Chalky, and then I'm going to throw it to you. So, this is a game to me where the line is telling me something. As Howard Eskin always likes to say. Um, I'm not as high on the Rams as I guess maybe Vegas is, and maybe I should be. I always defer to Vegas. Stafford looks healthy. Um, I don't know. I mean, I didn't expect the line to be, what did it open at, 4 or 4.5? I thought it would be like 6, 5.5 or 6. Once I saw that, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little off on this. So those are my initial thoughts. I think the line is kind of telling you something in this game. What do you think?
Um, yeah, but so I thought I was a little surprised with considering how the two teams have played, especially, the games last week, um, that it was 3.5. Like I thought maybe Rams would get more consideration and might be like a 2.5. So
Really?
I mean, look, the thing is, okay, first week it was, Hurts took what they gave him and he would now, they couldn't do anything. Now this week it's like, well, Hurts missed this throw, Hurts missed that throw. A lot of people are criticizing Patullo's route trees and how the plays are designed. I don't know, but
What I've heard is he's not seeing the field again. Like I listened to Greg Cosell talk about like how he's just his eyes are in the wrong place, like on multiple plays.
I mean, it's possible. I know I really, I think Cosell after was one of the people I looked or listened to after week one, and they weren't critical. They said Hurts did the right stuff this week. Definitely. Now, the first play of the game, both tight ends missed blocks. He had Brown for a touchdown, and he doesn't get to make that throw. But I think how he's reacting to, they're not getting as much man, but he's not taking advantage of the man coverage that they're getting either. And look, I mean, the throw he made to Devontae Smith, it was a jump ball, but he put it right where where you wanted to be for Smith, who can come back and get it. He missed a couple throws, obviously, and he's not taking a lot of, that was one of like the two, he had two deep balls to Smith. One was like out of bounds, and that was the one that,
That's the issue too. Like
they're not taking those shots.
the throws he's making aren't egregious, but he's not making throws that he should be trying to make. That you're going to miss sometimes, or he's not pushing the ball enough.
Yeah, no, he's not throwing a lot of risky balls for sure,
Right.
and even some of the stuff, like he had Brown a couple times, like the one ball was
from Mutiny, and Brown, like
Yeah.
he's gonna start, being like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, he threw to him a bunch at least this time around, and there was one pass interference call that they didn't, for whatever reason, call. And Brown had the one. At first look, I thought Hurts just made a bad throw, but it was where Brown slipped, and he wasn't even standing upright, and it was actually a good throw from Hurts, but Brown made a great catch because he slipped coming out of the break and had to like reach up and grab it to keep that one drive alive. I think it was either a field goal or a touchdown drive in the first half, I think. But yeah. Anyway, so I would not have been shocked if this was a 2.5 point game on the spread. That's 3.5. Going over the field goal.
But here's my thing on that. Who have the Rams beaten? Like they beat.
No, I mean they struggled. They struggled mightily. They struggled mightily against the Texans. Texans were until the end of the game. No, and they beat up on a bad Titans team.
Titans, but a rookie quarterback. So I'm like,
so
Rams.
I mean, I wasn't expecting 6. I would say,
maybe I was a little high with 6, but I thought like 5. I thought something like 5. So,
I mean, 4 or higher would have been I would not have. I didn't think it was going to be 3.5, let alone 4 necessarily. But 3.5 would have been the upper edge of what I would have thought. So it's closer to where I was thinking than where it sounds like you were thinking. But I think there's a lot of. I mean, both teams have question marks, as just about every team in the league does right now. So I think it's about right, as we'll get into.
So what's your score? What do you got going on?
It's a game the Rams, I think, can, I won't say easily win, but it's a very winnable game for them. Second game on the road in a row, 1:00. I don't know if they went back home over the break or not, so you're traveling cross country. Now, the Eagles beat them twice last year, so I do think this is a little bit more of a revenge game for them as opposed to the Chiefs, because they were the closest to beating the Eagles, and Barkley made them look stupid twice last year. I am going to go Eagles. Eagles 23-20. Um, the defensive line was able to uh, have some success against Stafford last year, and I don't think their offensive line got any better. So I'm looking for Carter to be a focus again, and then some of the other guys will get turnover or sack or something. So I think it's Rams will have at least one more turnover, and that'll end up being the difference. But I'll say 23-20.
Okay, I have the Eagles losing 24-20, and Tommy has the Eagles losing 28-24. So it's just more along the lines of what I said. Like I just think the lines. Maybe I have this Rams team wrong. The line's just telling me that. And like you mentioned too, the Rams they played a hell of a game against the Eagles last year in the playoffs. I mean, they easily could have won that game. I mean, Stafford was there. They were driving to win the game at the end of the
Yeah,
game. So I mean, they were right there with them. So and that was in bad weather.
it's bad weather. It was Hurts was pretty much immobile after getting hurt in the first half, so that threw a wrench into it. And I think the Rams lost somebody. I want to say to injury during the game too. But it was it's a crazy game.
All right, let's move on to picks. So last week we, as a whole, as a podcast, were very good. We were 7-2. You will get into that in a second. Let's do league stats. So over kind of made a comeback last week. It was 10 overs and 6 unders. And then the public had another bad week. They were 6-10. So we will get into our picks. Let's go for the season. So season is 14 over and 18 under. And the public is now 10-22 on the season. So the public is getting slaughtered so far. As I mentioned, our picks were very good. Tommy led us. He went 3-0. He had the Rams, and as his best bet, they won. He had the Ravens, who struggled a little bit, but then they pulled away in the fourth quarter, so they won. And then he had the 49ers, who beat the Saints with the backup quarterback. Chalky, you went 2-1 as well. You're now though 0-4 with your unders. Your best bet of the Broncos Colts was not close. That was not under. You did win with the Falcons, who we both had. And then you won with the Bengals somehow. I don't know how or how Jacksonville lost that game. They did. That'll be a theme in my picks coming up. Brock, who helps us sometimes with the Rally Monkey, he went 1-2, the Rally Monkey. His best bet did win, though. He had the Lions as his best bet. So he got a winner there.
Best bet was technically the Packers, but we couldn't let that play.
So you had to push back in the Rally Monkey.
Yeah.
And then the Jaguars, he lost too with the Jaguars, which is just unbelievable how they lost that game. And then the Rams and Titans under was not under. So then we'll move to me. I went 2-1. I did hit my best bet with the Falcons. Lost with the Jaguars. And the Lions, as we went into that day, I was kind of, wishing that I had made the Lions my best bet because I love the Lions going into that game. They were not losing that game. So for the year, Tommy is 5-1, profit of $351, 83% win, 59% ROI. I'm 4-2, profit of $178, 67% win, 30% ROI. Chalky, you're 2-4, loss of $228, 33% win, minus 38% ROI. Our Rally Monkey is 2-4, the loss of $220, 33% win, minus 37% ROI. So he's doing just about what Meeker would be doing if he was in it this year. For the season, I'm 2-0 with my best bets. I'm now 31-22 overall. Tommy's 2-0 with his best bets. He's 29-22 overall. Chalky, you were 0-2. You're 26-29 overall with your best bets. Now, what we did for our overall stats was we did take Meeker out of the stats, and you'll see how much better we do as a podcast without Meeker. Over the 3 years and 2 weeks that we've done it, I'm 94-70, profit of $1,533, 57% win, 9% ROI. Tommy's now 79-75, loss of $107, 51% win, just about minus 1% ROI. He's just about even. Chalky, you're now 82-83, loss of $784, 49.5% win, minus 5% ROI. As a pod, which we are now the core three without Meeker, we're 255-223, $641 profit, 53% win, 1.3% ROI. So we're now positive because we pulled out these awful stats of Meeker, 72-81, minus $1,578, 47% win, minus 10% ROI. So we are now a positive podcast without the albatross of Chris Meeker. Anyway, okay. So Chalky, I don't know how you want to start with this. If you want to give I think you've been in touch with the Rally Monkeys handler.
I have. We'll do that second.
Okay, so we'll go with you first again.
Yeah. So, I've learned my lesson. Not touching any totals for a while. So we'll see how we do the other way. My best bet is going to be Cowboys minus 1.5 against the Bears. That's minus 102. My second pick is going to be the Rams plus the 3.5. That's minus 115. And my third pick would have been under 55.5 in the KC Giants game, but as I said, I'm going to do it
45.5.
45.5. Yes, I'm not doing over under. So I did go with the Chiefs minus 6, minus 110.
Sure.
Now for our friend the Rally Monkey, he apparently loves the Thursday night games because he tried to take Buffalo again, and although it has not kicked off as we record, that will not count. But he kept with the theme, so he picked Thursday for the third week in a row. Also picked the Packers for the third week in a row. So he's got Green Bay minus 8.5, minus 108. He is also taking the Colts minus 4.5, minus 105. And he's got Bengals plus 3, minus 110. Now, this one, I'll just give a little background on because the monkey is nice enough to provide some analysis when he gives the picks. And this analysis was based on the fact that Joe Burrow back in the lineup should make this a close game.
Oh.
Now, missing the fact that Burrow was on the IR indefinitely. So,
are you sure you're not calling Meeker and he's giving you these picks? And
I don't know who's responding to my inquiries.
It might be Meeker,
but that's the analysis that came back. It said with Joe Burrow back in the lineup, the model sees this as a 1 or 2 point game. So take the Bengals plus 3.
Well,
so
okay.
For those that want to fade or follow, that's the logic behind that pick.
Like I said, it's analysis like we've had in the past, so I'm not too shocked out at it. So, all right, I did get Tommy's picks. Tommy's best bet is the Steelers minus 1.5. Believe it's minus 115. Chalky.
It is.
Yeah. Second pick is the Broncos plus 2.5, minus 105.
I just had that up. Yep.
Okay, and then Browns plus 8.5, minus 112.
Yep.
Okay. My three, I'm going to go with the Texans plus 1.5, minus 112, and I do not think they're a good team. I think their offensive line is totally garbage. I think their offense in and of itself is bad, and I think it all stems from the offensive line. Although Stroud is, I don't know. He's got such a bad offensive line. It's hard to criticize Stroud, but he really hasn't taken a step forward after his rookie season. But Jaguars, you want to talk about bad quarterbacks? Trevor Lawrence is bad, a bad quarterback. He's a problem. I know I bet him to win the MVP because he's got all the talent in the world, but I just think he's dumb or something's going on with him. I don't know. But my second pick, Chalky, unfortunately, I'm going against your Cowboys pick. I'm Bears plus 1.5, minus 118. And the reason, and correct me if I'm wrong there, is that I'm plenty.
No, you're good.
Okay. And Texans are minus 112, right?
Yep.
Okay. Um, that's another line that told me something because the line opened up with the Bears favored in that game, and I'm like, why in the hell are the Bears favored in that game? Now, I don't think Dallas is anything special, but the Bears are bad. Um, but I've heard a stat, and this actually falls into reason I took the Texans too, and it's a weird stat, and there's a lot of games to it. It's for the last at least 15 years. It's like teams that are 0-2 in week 3 against teams that are 1-1, the 0-2 teams have, like, an overwhelmingly good record, and I think a lot of it is desperation, obviously, but a lot of it too is, these teams that are 1-1 maybe aren't as good as, you know, they're getting credit for with the spread and things like that, so I just again, I think that was a bad line. I think the Bears, I don't think the Bears should have been favored, but the Vegas did. So guess what? Vegas knows a lot more than I know. I'm going with Vegas in that game. My third pick is with you, Chalky. I'm taking the Rams plus 3.5 minus 115. Again, another game where I thought the line told me something. Um, and it's very possible with the 3.5 that the Eagles could win the game by a field goal, and we got the hook. So we're going to
Yep.
cover there. But um, there's a lot of reverse line movement in that game. Like the line dropped, and the Eagles are getting all kinds of public picks and stuff. So that's shady to me. I think the Rams probably win this game. So Rams plus 3.5. All right. Before we go, we did hear from the legend Jimmy D because there are some big horse races this weekend at parks locally. It's Pennsylvania Derby Day. So Jimmy D gave me 2 picks for the big races, the Cotillion, which is the filly race, 3-year-old fillies, and then the PA Derby, 3-year-old males. So for the Cotillion, he's got good cheer, winning. Godolphin horse. Said Saez gave him too much to do in the Alabama. I kind of agree. If you look, I briefly looked at the race. I didn't have the PPs, but I looked at the sheets for the race, and just knowing the horses, it looks like there's a lot of going to be speed in the race, and good cheer should kind of get some horses some pace to close into. So I like that pick from Jimmy D. And in PA Derby, you went with Baeza, who is going to be the favorite. He's probably just the best horse. He ran well in the Jim Dandy, as Jimmy D mentioned in his notes. And he's probably the best horse. A lot of times you get chalk in this PA Derby. So that might be a good double, good cheer with Baeza. I don't know if you had a chance to look. It is the free race of the week on DRF. So.
I saw the entries. I did not attempt to handicap it.
I mean, if we have PPs and you wanted to pull them, go ahead. But if we don't have them,
It's a free race. Yeah. I mean, Baeza, just looking at the names that are lined up, if you think Baeza is vulnerable, you can pick pretty much any other horse and you'll get maybe a price because Baeza is going to be. I didn't see the morning line, but there's nobody else that has run the races that he has, even though he hasn't been winning in that field. But the Cotillion's a better race as far as competitive with some top level horses for sure. But not a good year for the quality of the Grade 1 Pennsylvania Derby.
No, I mean, you kind of have to wonder if, you see a race that's really not doesn't have great horses, if they're going to start looking at the grading of the race.
I mean, they will if it's based on who runs and what they do after. So, like, if Baeza wins this race and then wins the Classic, then But if Baeza wins and doesn't do anything, or nobody else runs well out of this, I mean, the days of the triple, people horses win the Triple Crown races and then following up the PA Derby seem to be gone for the moment at least. So, I would say the Grade 1. I think, look, we're not going to go off on a tangent. I think it's hard to have a restricted age race this late in the season and still call it Grade 1, but I think that's going to be in jeopardy for sure.
It could be, yeah. All right, Chalky. So about 50 minutes. I think that's good enough for tonight. So episode 173 of Broad Street Hustle. We will see you next week.